The beauty of this place we know as Tellico Village also serves as home to a remarkable collection of residents who volunteer their time to bring an added beauty to our special corner of this world. Music. It is March 2024, and the Tellico Village Singers, more than 100 strong, are in performance for their neighbors. It is an exquisite tour de force of musical beauty. Julie Andrews once sang, "The hills are alive with the sound of music," and those are words and a sentiment that especially ring true for each of us who live here and call Tellico Village home.
And the little syncopated parts at the end you're hunting for. I understand that. Don't start by singing that. It ain't going to work. I'll catch you. No, they can't take that. There we go.
Performances of this scale and caliber do not just happen. Meet Dennis Loy, a retiree who moved to Tellico Village 8 years ago. He came from a lifelong music background that included working with and conducting professional chorus performances at places like Carnegie Hall in New York City and some of the great concert halls in Europe.
That's a toughie. With the way we dance till 3. So if you hold that in st, it's going to sound, you're going to be doing this. The way we dance till 3, dance till 3.
Behind the scenes, the Tellico Village Singers spend months in rehearsal preparing for 2 big shows each year in March and July. Their shows are so meticulously performed, it is difficult to believe not only that everyone here is volunteering their time, but that this talented group of performers simply did not exist 8 years ago. Enter Jan Sampson, who moved to Tellico Village in 2017 from the Chicago area to enjoy the sweet beauty of this region. The origins of the Tellico Village Singers began at a meeting of the New Villagers Club when she asked the new residents if any of them had an interest in forming a community singing group. A dozen hands went up, and a small organizational meeting was set up at the Yacht Club. It was at that very first meeting in 2017 that they realized that they had a future leader in Dennis Loy, who brought a wealth of professional music experience that no one could have imagined.
We sat in a circle so that we could more easily see each other and introduce ourselves. As we went around the circle, each individual said their name, where they were from, and a little bit about their choral experience. When they got around the circle, I said what my name was and my background in music, and it was pretty much the same as everybody else's, being in a church choir or school choirs or a community choir in the past. But then the next person that I was sitting next to was a gentleman who was very quiet and said his name very quietly and kind of mumbled it and said what his job was. But when I heard what he said, I looked at everybody and I said, I think it's time that we find out a little more about this person. What is your name again, and what did you do?
Believe it or not, 2 of the members that were sitting in the circle got up, got down on their knees and started bowing to me in terms of, we found our director. And I just went, oh, I guess I am the director.
At that point, I promised him eternal servitude in regards to being a choral director for us. I would do all the paperwork, all the administrative work, so that he could focus on the music and conducting and just bringing us the joy of having a choir.
And that was my fear, is I was going to not only do the conducting, but I was going to take care of all the administrivia. And once she said that, I think we've got a team.
The First Baptist Church generously offered their choir rehearsal room to the singers. The group quickly grew to 50 people, and as rehearsals took place, a request came for the group to give its first public performance.
We practiced for 2 or 3 months, and the First Baptist Church came to us and said, well, this July, could you possibly just sing a few patriotic songs for us? And we thought, okay, we can do that. We were initially just gathering for the enjoyment of being a choir group, but not really performing.
What they thought would be a couple of songs became a much bigger and more formal program than they had originally intended to present, instead becoming an hour-long blend of songs and patriotic narrations.
In addition to the music, we also had a professional actor that portrayed Abraham Lincoln in the Gettysburg Address. We had a color guard there. We had the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts as well. We had a full package that was able to fill the hour that was required for the concert.
After that first concert, the interest grew dramatically. People were applying and having the opportunity to join us at that point. We had probably 125 in the first 3 years come to be with us, and it was really a pleasure to have them enjoy music in this way.
2 local churches have been especially generous in donating space for the singers. In the early days of the group, the First Baptist Church, and later, the Community Church. The rapid growth of the choir posed some new challenges, especially in terms of finding sufficient facilities that were large enough to allow proper rehearsals and performances. Both Jan Sampson and Dennis Loy expressed deep gratitude to the First Baptist Church for their generosity in providing space. But the choir's expansion was such that a new home at Community Church came to be, with its significantly larger building. Immediate support came from John Orr, pastor of worship and music at Community Church.
My name is John Orr, and I am the pastor of music and worship here and also director of our Fine Arts Concert Series.
The entire area around here has beautiful church choir and a lot of beautiful music, but there was no secular music for anybody to enjoy. And so I mentioned that to John, and John actually came over and gave me a big hug and said, I've been waiting for somebody to do that. He said, they've been asking me to do it, and I said, I can't, I don't have the time.
Community Church has a long run on exceptional music concert series, and to Dennis Lloyd's surprise, the Tellico Village Singers were extended a remarkable invitation from Pastor Orr.
He basically did a gamble and allowed us to be in the choral or the fine arts series and said, let's see what can happen. And so we started in March. We've been on the series every year. I am extremely humbled by the quality of the other performers. We have Chanticleer, there's Canadian Brass, and this is our own homemade community chorus. And we pack the house every concert, well over 900 each concert.
Occasionally, the singers have some extra fun with a song, so they created their own parody signature song.
There's a place called Tellico. That's where the smart folks go to get away from it all.
I don't remember who came up to me at the time, but they came up to me and said, what about using the Beach Boys song Kokomo and change that to Tellico? And the light bulb came on, and I said, all right, we need to do a parody on this.
The growth of the singers was remarkably fast, an instant popular sensation in the village. And then, seemingly out of nowhere, the world changed, and membership numbers took a steep tumble.
We were able to have our concert. It went beautifully. It was a great concert, and then boom, 2 days later, the entire country shut down as far as socializing and being close to anyone. So it was just by the grace of God that we were able to slide our concert in right when COVID hit.
We probably dropped from 125 down to probably 70. That we're still wanting to do that. And then once COVID eventually started to give way, then our numbers increased again, almost back to where we were before COVID hit. A second. I thought of this yesterday. On the first beat, I want you to bump it. In other words, sopranos, you're going to get ya da 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 da. So each one of the 3 beats, I want to give me a bump.
In addition to leading the big choir, which numbers 100 or more people, a separate, much smaller group called the Tellico Voices has been established. With 20 singers, it offers the opportunity to present especially intricate musical arrangements that a larger choir cannot easily perform.
I think the ideal size of our choir is dependent on a lot of things in terms of repertoire, in terms of interests. I have two choirs, essentially the singers, which is a much larger ensemble. The main factor in terms of deciding how large the choir is also depending on the balance of the choir, sopranos, altos, tenors, and basses. I have to have an even amount of blend between all of the singers, so it varies depending on the number of basses or the number of tenors that I have. We average right around 100 to about 105, 106. That just depends again on the repertoire. The smaller group is a very much more select group. That's only 20 voices. That's 5 per part. And it just depends. Those are the basic things in terms of determining what the size of the choir is going to be. It's varied in size, but right now we have 20. I have 5 per each part, soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. We do a cappella pieces. We do very, very intricate sounds, pieces, arrangements that they could only do because of the intricacy of it. The larger choir wouldn't be able to do something like that, nor would I expect them to do that. In the same vein, the voices couldn't do some of the powerful pieces that the singers do to give that impact. So the combination of the two is not only a plus for the audience, but it also gives me a chance to spread my wings out, so to speak, and do both the large group and really intensify with the smaller group as well.
Pack up, let's fly away.
I was enjoying that chord. It was such a nice chord, and I thought, no, I have a job to do, Dennis. I know, I did. I got it on autopilot. It's infectious because you're infectious. I mean, you see that you absolutely love this piece, you know, and that's key to this thing. The intricacy of the repertoire for the voices allows us to be an 8-part harmony, 2 sopranos, first and second, and all the way down to basses, first and second. We do a little bit of that in the singers, but the intricacy of that, and a cappella pieces, particularly with the voices, that's something that really, really brings them home to, I guess, develop a more homogeneous sound and harmony itself.
There is one other important qualification that is required to become a member of the smaller Tellico Voices ensemble.
They have to read music, and they have another rehearsal. So they've got the Monday afternoon rehearsal. You can't be in the voices unless you're in the singers. And then we have an entire rehearsal for them every month as well. I also require them to memorize all their music as well. So they have I guess, more of a dedication in terms of what they're going to be able to do, because I basically say, here's the music, learn your part.
For Jan Sampson and Dennis Loy, the work behind the scenes will result in not merely a group singing songs, but in an even more adventurous presentation.
Some of those additional sensory motivators that we've had dancers who've been up on the stage while we've been singing. If it was a song from the 50s, we might have had a couple dancing on the stage. We've had our local dancers in our community dancing in the aisles up and down when we have certain songs where it fits right in. We've had musicians come from UT, the jazz band. So we've had full sets of jazz band musicians. We've had specialty violinists come, and this adds so much to the music and really rounds it out so well for a major event.
When you come to the community church and we had 2 big, huge screens that they would be able to watch, we were able to not only have them enjoy the music, but we had the visual effects of what we were doing, and we tie the visual into our performances themselves. So it's not a choir concert, it's not a music concert, it's an event.
If Dennis Loy is the front person, the face, if you will, of the Tellico Village Singers, then Jan Sampson is its heart, working on things behind the scenes that may not be immediately apparent to the casual observer, but they are the things that are critical to the success of the singers and each performance that they give.
There actually is more work behind the scenes than there is on stage. The audience sees the end product, but they don't realize all of the aspects of getting this into, I guess, reality. Jan is absolutely fantastic with arranging not only the ushers and taking care of the color guard and taking care of security and taking care of the audio visual up there. She's up there in the booth every concert, making sure that everything on the screen coincides with what I'm doing on stage. And we work as a team when it comes to this. And without her, this product would not even go off the ground.
Another key member of the Tellico Village Singers is Barbara Schmidt. Her musical journey started with piano lessons in the 3rd grade. In college, she switched to pipe organ and began a paid position at Lutheran churches until she retired a few years ago. She supports the singers at rehearsals by playing supporting piano, but at the formal performances, the singers mostly utilize pre-recorded instrumental show tracks from orchestras rather than a live musician, though she does occasionally play live during the performances. And she serves a very different role at the piano when the director chooses a song for the group to perform a cappella. Barbara also sings with the Tellico Village Chorus when she's not playing the piano.
For an a cappella piece, other than all of that preparation work, my entire role is to give opening pitches. The difference I will tell you with a cappella is it gives the conductor freedom for expression of the piece where he doesn't have to follow that recorded track.
No brown maid has got a shade on sweet Georgia Brown. 2 left feet, but oh so neat as sweet Georgia Brown.
Barbara has been essential to helping us learn our music. Not only does she play the accompaniment when we're practicing, but so many times she is playing the notes for our specific parts over and over during our rehearsals, and that helps us learn the notes, learn the rhythm, learn the phrasing.
Being an accompanist is really a special talent. It actually, a good accompanist makes the rest of us sound so much better, and she does that in a superb way.
You might think that someone with decades of church sacred music piano experience would find playing pop music relatively easy, but she says that isn't necessarily the case.
Our little routine is the music person calls me, I pick up the music from her mailbox, and then I come home and start learning as soon as I get it. And it takes a while because these are, again, from my sacred background, as I said before, there is not much swing music in church music.
The work that began in September, 5 months of steady rehearsal from the entire chorus, are about to pay off. It's March, and it's showtime. There is an air of electricity in the backstage rehearsal room just before the show that you can almost touch and feel. The crowd's lined up early for the big night.
It is filling up fast. I came out that way, and the line was beyond, I couldn't even see it. And I stepped in line, and I said, is there something going on today? And he looks at me and says, you have a ticket, don't you?
Conductor Dennis Loy knows that laughter is the best medicine to calm the nerves of an excited choir. His very professional demeanor, at once soothing and light-hearted, sometimes self-deprecating, and at the right moment inspirational in tone, are note perfect on this opening night.
Believe it or not, there are some people that enjoy my talking. I know that. Come on. You know, I sat back and I realized, okay, we started September 11th, so it's been 5 months. Minus a couple rehearsals that were caused by snow that we didn't know about, and a couple hiccups with Christmas and New Year's. But you are so ready.
His pre-show chat with the chorus allowed him to reflect on the challenges each member faced when presented with great music to be sung.
I really believe that, you read those notes and it makes a difference in terms of how you look at the piece of music, because the piece of music is not just that sound. It had to be developed. There had to be a writer, there had to be a composer, there had to be an arranger, and all the stories that go around to finally get that point where it's performed. And sometimes it didn't take long, like Send in the Clowns with Sondheim. He did it in 2 days. Other ones, it takes, years, literally years, to get everything ready to go in terms of that. Fascinating rhythm. Fascinating rhythm. The key, I think, to the Great American Songbook are the lyrics. And we've got to make sure that we get those lyrics out there and make them crisp and make sure the T's and the K's are in spots. I know that the audience is going to know every song, and if I turned around, they would sing it with us. But, we want to make sure that we are distinct with our singing. Melodies, remember where the melodies are. Make sure that you're not over singing. Please don't over sing at the beginning and then an intermission all of a sudden feel like then you're going to be disappointed.
For every member of the Singers, there's another lesson that will be learned or relearned. Singing in rehearsal sounds very different than singing in front of an audience of 900 people.
It's going to be a different sound today because that place is going to be completely packed, which means the sound's going to be very different. Rex is going to be back there adjusting accordingly for both the voices and the singers to make sure that the balance is good.
As showtime draws near, the conductor pays his chorus the ultimate tribute as he reflected on his own past life conducting professional choirs on some very big stages.
He did so much in New York City and with Carnegie Hall and all the people that have performed there. And I'm no less proud. I'm just as proud of you as I am on those professional people that I dealt with in New York City. More so because you're stepping out and you're stretching yourself where they didn't have to most of the time. And dealing with their professionalism was a plus, and they were always spot on because they were supposed to be. But you're always spot on because you want to be.
I'm not going to turn around. I have no idea what's
The applause was deafening. The audience clapped and cheered and sometimes sang along. It was a performance no one wanted to see end. For the chorus members, there was exhilaration. A member for 7 years, Sue Flannelly, could not contain her joy after the show was done.
It's always fun and enjoyable, but tonight it's just amazing. The feeling that we get when we come off that stage, it's so rewarding. Takes a lot of time to do it, but it's worth every minute.
Jerry Parada is a founding member of the Singers.
The best song for me was New York, New York, because it was from Dennis's heart that we were doing it. And you could tell that the crowd was into it. I saw people in the back doing the wave that we were doing up on the stage. So it was a great feeling.
Barbara Schmidt says an audience member once gave her and the full choir a compliment she never forgot.
I was in the audience for the Canadian Brass concert, sitting next to a woman who has been a faithful supporter of Tellico Village Singers and Voices. And I said to her how humbling it is to be in a concert series with groups such as the Canadian Brass. She looked at me and she said, "You wouldn't be in it if you weren't any good, honey."
On this night, there is a veritable smorgasbord of the best of human emotions to be found. Joy and ecstasy, love, peace and contentment, in friendships new and old. The gift of song has been given, and it has been received by the community in a spirit of generosity and thanks. That is a hallmark of this little corner of our world, the place we call home, Tellico Village.
And the night